Hey everyone, it's me, Nicole. So I could not get through Veda without doing at least one tag video. So I went through and actually somebody had just done this tag, so I'm not sure how old this tag is, but one of the people that I'm subscribed to just did it, so it can't be that old. So I figured I would go ahead and do it because I haven't done it before. So this tag is called My First Tag, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first line is my first tweet, and I had to go back and look all the way back at the beginning of my Twitter, which wasn't really that difficult because I really don't tweet that often, so I wouldn't encourage you to follow me on Twitter because I just don't use it. But anyways, I got a Twitter in the first place because my brother went down to college and he was making it seem like he was going to use his Twitter more than Facebook, and I wanted to keep in touch with him. So my first tweet was at Chuck. I'll just say Chuck, that's not his name, but we'll go with Chuck. That's his name, but it's not his Twitter name. Anyways, it's at Chuck. Moving up in the world, ... I got a Twitter thingy, ... Glad you're safe and settled, ... So sorry I couldn't help you move all your crap. Laugh out loud. So yeah, because I wasn't able to help him move down to college. Okay, the next one was my first YouTube video. My first YouTube video, I think, that I uploaded was of Sadie dancing to Beyonce, I believe. And then I did like an introduction video, which now looking back it was kind of silly. But anyways, yeah, that was my first YouTube video. First person I subscribed to, I believe, was a girl who had a channel called Pages for the Ages, and she doesn't really make videos that often anymore, but Pages for the Ages was a little like scrapbooking channel that she had, and I thought it was really cool. I watched all her videos, but then I realized she wasn't making them anymore. But anyways, I thought her channel was really cool, and she was the first person that motivated me to click subscribe. So yeah. My first Facebook profile pic, I will insert that right there. Thought I was so cool for having met Coach Didka, and so that was my first profile pic. Okay, next question is, do I still talk to my first love? And the answer to that is no. I kept in contact with him for a couple years after we broke up, but no, I don't talk to him anymore. First alcoholic drink was, I believe it was from Smirnoff, and it was called a Twister, I think. And I tried that at a holiday party with all of my family there. My first job, I worked at a Cold Stone Creamery, and it was a really cool job, and I loved working there. I only worked there for like a month or two though before I decided that I wanted to do something else. My first car was a 1997 Buick Skylark, and it was like a maroon color. First person to text me today. Let me check and see. Okay, so nobody texted me today. Pretty boring, but my sister-in-law texted me first thing yesterday morning, so that counts. She asked me about the ingredients for my pulled pork recipe. The first person I thought of this morning, and that was my little Harper. She is nursing, so I pretty much think of her at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning. My first grade teacher, her name was Mrs. Hanson, and I loved her. She was amazing, and for years after I was out of first grade, I used to always like draw her pictures and take it down to her classroom, and I was always showing her love because I was in love with her. Where did I go on my first airplane ride? And I went to San Diego. We were on our way to Mexico, but we just flew to San Diego and then drove into Mexico. My first best friend, and do we still talk? My first best friend, her name was, I had a couple because we all lived on the same street. My first best friends, their names were Lisa and Nikki, and we do still talk. Not like, we're not as close as we used to be by any means. We're all at like kind of different stages in our lives at this point, but we do still talk from time to time. My very first sleepover may have been at my grandparents' house. However, like my first friend's sleepover was with my first best friends, which were Lisa and Nikki, and it was probably at Lisa's house. And we always used to have like a blast having sleepovers over there. I think probably the first sleepover resulted from my mom hanging out with her best friend, and they would be playing cards and just hanging out, and I would be with my mom super late, and so I would just end up staying the night. And so that was with my best friend Lisa. First thing I did this morning was nurse Harper, and then I changed her diaper, and then I went back to sleep. So those are the first things that I did this morning. The first concert I ever went to. This is a tough one because there was like a time in my my middle school years where we went to like a bunch of concerts, and I don't necessarily remember my first concert, but I want to say that it was either Avalon or Diamond Rio or Patty Loveless and Lila McCann at a fair. I'm not sure, but I've had wonderful experiences at concerts. I love concerts, but yeah, I don't necessarily remember my first one. My first broken bone. I broke my toe I was wearing like those canvas shoes that used to be really cool, and I was at, I think it was Steak and Shake, and I was opening the door to go out, I think. No, it must have been coming in, because it doesn't make sense that I would open the door that direction. Usually they open out. But anyways, I was opening the door and I opened it too hard and my toe was right there, and it like ripped open my shoe and I broke my toe. Does that make any sense? Yeah. It was not fun, but thankfully I haven't had that many broken bones. So yeah. My first piercing is just my ears. Those are the only things that I have pierced. The first foreign country that I've been to. The only other country that I've been to other than the United States is Mexico, so I guess that was the first and only. My first movie that I remember seeing, I think, is probably The Lion King. When was your first detention? And I never had a detention. I was a pretty good kid. However, in middle school, I was in honors classes, and in honors classes they have like a group of teachers that do the honors group. So they had like our math teacher, our writing English teacher, and our history teacher. And basically they had a system called the red passing system, and so basically if a teacher got sick of us or we were acting up in class, they would red pass us to one of the other teachers, and we would sit in their class for the rest of the period. And I was red passed once, and it's actually a pretty funny story, because the reason I was red passed is because my teacher asked me where my homework was, and I told him that I had handed it in, and he was like, no you didn't. And I said, yes I did, I put it on your desk. And we got in like a little tussle because of it, because there were times that I did not hand in my homework, but this was one time that I know that I had, and I said, you know, your desk is kind of messy, maybe you should look through your desk. And he red passed me. And then I was in the other teacher's room for like 10 minutes maybe, and then the teacher came over and got me, and he said he had found my homework and he was sorry. So yeah, that was my only like in trouble experience. Who is my first roommate? My first roommate was a girl named Melissa, and her and I were not like a perfect match at all. She had different expectations going into college, and my expectation was basically just to be there to get my degree. I didn't really care about having the college experience. She wanted a built-in best friend, and I just wanted to get out of my house. So I mean, the university that I went to was about 10 minutes from my home, and so I still had all of my family really close, and I had Robert, and I had a full-time job. Her and I just didn't click. The first organized sport that I was involved in was volleyball. Yay, I loved volleyball. the first thing that I do whenever I get home is usually take off my shoes, put Harper down, and go. Oh my gosh, look at what I just found in my bed, a whisker. Look, boom, it's a whisker. It's one of your whiskers fell off. Anyway, so I usually come in, take my shoes off, use the bathroom, and most of the time, nurse Harper. The last thing that they want me to tell you about in this tag is about my first kiss. My first kiss was in 8th grade, and it was with a boy named Julian, and basically he was like my first little boyfriend. And it was then one night after one of our band concerts, my best friend, we were like closing up from the concert, and my best friend called out to him, "Why don't you give her a goodnight kiss?" And then he kissed me, and that was that. So that was my first kiss. Kind of lame, I have to say, but that's how it went. So that was my first kiss, and that is my first tag. If you guys would like to do this tag, I'll put the questions down below, and I would love to hear all of your answers. Talk to you soon. Bye.